It looks like we might finally actually have some recognition that is well-deserved, well-placed, and honestly, I think it is a good move for the military. Now, a lot of you guys might have seen this story previously from a video that I made probably about a year ago. Now, it has over 100,000 views, and this was about the hospital corpsman Luis Fonseca, which is a Navy Cross recipient for some of the stuff that he did while he was in action with his Marines. Now, I'm going to read that citation to you guys just so you guys have some context, because there is a message from him about this as well. Citation says, the President of the United States of America takes a pleasure in presenting the Navy Cross to Hospitalman Apprentice E2 Luis E. Fonseca, United States Navy, for extraordinary heroism in action against the enemy while serving as a corpsman, Amphibious Assault Vehicle Platoon, Company Charlie, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, Regimental Combat Team 2, Task Force Tarawa, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force, in support of Iraqi freedom on 23 March 2003. During Company Charlie's assault and seizure of the Saddam Canal Bridge, an amphibious assault vehicle was struck by a rocket-propelled grenade, inflicting 5 casualties. Without concern for his own safety, Hospital Apprentice Fonseca braved small arms, machine gun, and intense rocket-propelled grenade fire to evacuate the wounded Marines from the burning amphibious assault vehicle and tend to their wounds. He established a casualty collection point inside the unit's medical evacuation amphibious assault vehicle, calmly and methodically stabilizing 2 casualties with lower limb amputations by applying tourniquets and administering morphine. He continued to treat and care for the wounded, awaiting evacuation until his vehicle was rendered immobile by enemy direct and indirect fire. Under a wall of enemy machine gun fire, he directed the movement of 4 casualties from the damaged vehicle by organizing litter teams from available Marines. He personally carried 1 critically wounded Marine over open ground to another vehicle. Following a deadly artillery barrage, Hospital Apprentice Fonseca again exposed himself to enemy fire to treat Marines wounded along the perimeter. Returning to the casualty evacuation amphibious assault vehicle, he accompanied his casualties south through the city to a battalion aid station. After briefing medical personnel on the status of his patients, Hospital Apprentice Fonseca returned north through the city of Company Charlie's lines and to his fellow Marines and had been wounded in his absence. His timely, effective care undoubtedly saved the lives of numerous casualties. Hospital Apprentice Fonseca's actions greatly reflect great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service. So yes, obviously very much a notable act, especially for an E2 during, what we would say is some of the height of the kinetic actions that were being taken over in Iraq during that time period. But through this, he has pretty much remained kind of, I would say, like an iconic member of the community that has been here and has been a person that is like, this is why we learn X, Y, or Z. This is why we focus on the Fleet Marine Force qualification. If you guys don't know, there are warfare pins that we wear that you earn. When Luis Fonseca was doing this, there was not an FMF pin. There was not a Fleet Marine Force pin, as corpsmen were stationed with Marines to wear this device and be able to say that they have served with them to show it kind of more honorably on that. There was a ribbon before, but as far as having like something as formidable as this, I think, we have seen corpsmen carve out their name and this pin meaning something, and this has been part of his legacy as well. Sadly, Luis Fonseca's name is not in here. We have current names such as Dakota Myers. We have other, notable people as well that are more recent, but he is a piece of history that we should understand that is relevant, and especially as we move into this new generation. But that is where a petition for change.org actually came up, where people are now looking to put him inside of this qualification book, so that way when people are earning this warfare device, they are learning about some of the things he did and the impact he's had on the corpsman community as well. It's almost at the 5,000 signatures it needs, so I will link that down below if you guys would like to go over there and sign it, because I think it's important, as this will show voice and numbers as people are wanting him to get put in here. As he retired a little over a year ago, around that time mark, there were a lot of people that were very upset because they were saying that essentially he had a Navy Cross, he impacted the corpsman community. Why was he not made a chief? He should be continued on. And there was a lot of controversy or, talkings about why was he not selected. But I want to let you guys know he did make a video, so he can tell you his thoughts on his nomination as people are trying to get him in the Fleet Marine Force qualification book.
Hey, greetings, Nicky. And thank you so much for reaching out to me in regards to the petition currently going around right now to get me instated into the most recent or upcoming version of the Fleet Marine Force program study guide material. When the young man first approached me via Facebook Messenger and text me asking for my permission, I guess if you want to call it that. And that's what he asked. He asked if I would give him my permission. To me, it was more just me giving him my support in order for him to start this petition. It took me about 5 or 10 minutes to really let it sink in and me process that. And it was really his message that he put on Facebook Messenger on why he wanted my story or why he wanted to put the petition together to try to get me instated into the book. And it was him just denoting the inspiration that I've given him throughout his Navy career as well as a young corpsman. Knowing that if he ever got called up, he, even as a young corpsman, had the skill sets to take care of our wounded combat Marines, soldiers, airmen, whoever, other sailors on the battlefield to take care of them. For 22 years of my adult life, I spent as a Navy corpsman. And when I first went to boot camp when I first went to Corpsman A school back in 1999, I had some of the best instructors I believe I could have had at that time, and that was Senior Chief Winch Diller and HM1, now retired, and Senior Chief's retired as well too. But now HM1 John Moores, who retired as a Master Chief, really instilled that pride of the legacy of the hospital corpsman. And I would be lying to you if I told you in my 22 years I didn't sit there and read all 23 of the Medal of Honor recipients we have had in our corpsman rating. I can't honestly say I've read all 179 of the Navy Cross citations in our corpsman rating, but I have read quite a bit of them, and I've gotten the pleasure of meeting quite a few of those gentlemen that wear that award too. And knowing how much they have inspired me throughout my career made it pretty easy for me to give my blessing and or support to this young man in order to start this petition. If my story can be used to motivate young men and women to perform their duties as best as possible, then I'm all for it. If my story can be used to inspire and motivate young men and women to get help for their mental health, then I'm all for that as well. I never imagined that my life and or my life story could give so much inspiration to many and hope to other people as well too. This petition has been going on for I think a little bit over 2 weeks now, and I've read some of the comments and just seen how far out my story has touched other people and or have motivated and or inspired other young men and women, other young corpsmen, truly is humbling. So from my personal perspective, I'd be a fool not to stand behind somebody who has gained inspiration and motivation from my story and is trying to help others gain that same inspiration and motivation. We can inspire many more young men and women to not only join the ranks in the Navy, but also to join our ranks amongst us as Navy hospital corpsmen, and to show the pride that we have in our community, the legacy that we are part of, and the shoulders of these great men and women that came before us, that we stand on their shoulders and push forward. With all the uncertainty going on in the world right now, and we can look to the horizon and kind of see that there's another conflict brewing ahead, we have a lot of young men and women scared, and rightfully so. I'd be a liar if I sat here and told you I wasn't scared when Iraq, when the World Trade Centers first went off and I was told I was going to Iraq and then to Afghanistan and multiple other deployments as well. 100% scared every single time. I'd be lying to you all if I told you I wasn't. So once again, Nicky, thank you so much for reaching out to me. Thank you so much for asking for my opinion. I'm truly humbled, truly blessed. I wish you all nothing but the best and success in your life and career, Nicky. And if there's anything I can do for you, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you so much for what you're doing for our military community, bringing stories to the forefront of us, so we could keep abreast with everything that's going on throughout our military community. So thank you as well for everything that you're doing. I appreciate you, brother. Keep rocking it on. No shame.
And I want to wrap this up for a second, because in this book, there are a total of 12 people. And I think we all live our lives in a way that we think we're special. We think that we're like always going to be remembered. But I'm like, this book covers Marine Corps history from 1775, 12 people. And, you know, when people get mad about not getting awards, not getting, you know, a great evaluation in the military or not being recognized for something, I'm like, and I just want to say that I think there's probably people out there that have likely done some very heroic things, not to outshine his sacrifices that he did or his brothers that he was out there with. You know, I think everyone, when the time comes, they do what they have to do. And, you know, if you get something at the end of it, you do. But, you know, I don't want anyone to say like that's what we live for, is what we wear on our chest. But I do believe the pin does carry significance in it, in carrying on that historical and traditional side, even if we can't always honor everybody that's ever done something amazing with it and kind of bring them into this one device. But what do you guys think about this situation? Do you think he should make it in? Do you think he shouldn't? Do you think we should probably put more people in here? Is there anyone else that you think should be remembered in military history that probably is not given their credit? And let me know down in the comments below. But as always, if you guys have other topics or other ideas that you want me to cover, hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.